When people think of robotics, they always just think of these robots that would come into your home, your kitchens, your driver seats, your industries, your roads, and they'll be doing manual work and replacing humans there where it's needed. But what people don't know or don't think about is that robotics is also software. You could have softwares that do the same thing that these manual labor humanoids that you're trying to build, they'll do the same thing in software. What does that mean? That means that you'd have these robots, software robots, that be within these apps and will be there within these apps when the user joins and gives you the end-to-end service, the end-to-end experience that is currently not possible. The hand-holding experience that an app or a service actually wants to give you is currently not possible. So imagine a scenario that you have a hospital or a small clinic. You start with a reception. What happens on a reception? There's a human person you go to this hospital, usually very crowded, usually an experience that no one wants to go through. You have ample amounts of sick people around you. You have very bad queues, and this is not just in India but everywhere across the world. This reception is basically a place which registers the user, takes the user into the experience of the hospital, and it's sort of a joining point between the user and the doctor. Can that be replaced by an AI agent who's working as a software robot? Definitely, very easily. Here we're talking about an application that the hospital is actually using, and you're doing this from home. So you're informing the robot that, hey, I'll be visiting the hospital tomorrow around this time, or that we're in emergency, what time should we come as soon as possible. The robot is able to triage the very, very simple situations, different types of situations that you are in, and it's able to take you with that triaged and manage the traffic and probably be able to reduce the queue that is there. And starting from the experience, we remove the reception completely. We go to the next place, which is the doctor. Again, something that's not replaceable, but the actual service that the hospital actually needs to provide. Here again, as you're registering the user itself, you are able to take the information, all the information that the doctor wastes his or her time on taking. So the AI will be able to pre-diagnose you already before coming to the doctor itself. So saving your time, the hospital's time, and the doctor's time. And this experience in itself reduces a big backlog what major hospital services, healthcare services suffer across the world. So you are replacing all of this until the doctor with an AI agent. Once you're with the doctor is already seeing a summary of what has been done till now, what type of doctors have you visited before, what are your reports, what are the problems that you're going through. Once you've gone through that, the doctor is able to see everything about you right in front of him or her, and then take the right prognosis decision. As soon as this is where something that people have already tried to emulate, but the major problems are once you visited that doctor, and doctors are extremely busy, always in lag, and there are always queues in front of them. There is never an aftercare, mostly an unsolved problem across the world. And after the aftercare also, there's no way a hospital is able to retain their clients. There's no way a hospital can actually follow up with the clients that they have, and what happened after you visited your doctor, what happened after the doctor had prescribed something or prescribed, say, a test. You would never get that back, and there is no information chain through which you can provide that experience that the user actually retains with you. So what happens after the doctor? You have the aftercare, which is, did you take the right prescription? What if you have a question about the prescription? How can you actually go to the doctor to ask? Almost impossible for majority of the people who don't have a house doctor or a relative doctor that all of us are calling every day. And once that is there is no follow-up. Did you actually go to the test? What happened after the test? It's a one-directional chain. Only the user or the client or the person who's come for the service is always reaching out to the service provider here. The service provider is actually lacking in providing that service bidirectionally. What if you could replace all of this follow-up procedure, the questions that the user wants to ask, the questions the patient wants to ask, with, again, an AI agent, an AI robot that is a face in front of you is able to talk to you like, assistant of a doctor. And you can basically ask your questions. It could summarize a question that it doesn't know. It could ask the doctor, reach out to the doctor and say, hey, this is what the patient is asking. This is the response I wrote. Can you approve of it? A lot of ways can be found around it. But basically, all of this experience and then going towards a complete profiling, you want to come to that hospital again. A hospital is able to retain that patient until the whole problem is solved. Most of the healthcare problems are not solved within 1 visit or 2 visits or 3 visits. And that's why you would always see people going around to multiple doctors, multiple hospitals to get their care done, and which is a major problem. If you think of hospitals as a business, it's a major problem for any hospital to retain their patients right there. So what if you then comes a major, a scorn in the experience of all of this, which is how do you actually provide the whole experience where, again, you have to pay your patient, you are the client, you're the relative of your of the patient who's admitted, and you want to take them out. It takes hours and hours before you can actually take your relative home. Again, something that is extremely replaceable. There are individual apps that have been built around it. There are individual apps that the insurance and fintech companies have offered around it, but that is again something that has to be part of the whole experience. So what I'm talking about here is the future of applications would be an end-to-end service, which is now completely possible to replace mostly all of the interactions that a service provider gives to you within a digital interface itself. And businesses that don't already get onto this will lag behind, and the businesses who will take on this will definitely be far ahead of the curve. What we're talking about is, what is the hospital actually providing here? The hospital is providing a doctor who's the person in charge of serving you, or the hospital is providing a bed or the other testing services. And apart from that, all of the other services are easily replaceable and something that should be replaced so that the experience is changed. What are we changing, and how does this actually impact? It impacts the retention of the customer. It impacts the user experience, which can be made personalized now. It can be something that is 100 times better of what is happening right now. So how is all of this done? Let's go back to simple LLM. We all know about large language models. Large language models are large-sized neural networks that are able to generally take in most of the information that is online, are able to produce cohesive outputs when fine-tuned and further trained across. What that actually means is that you're able to now interact with your software, your robot software that I'm talking about, in plain language. And that has completely, obviously, transformed the whole world. You're now able to interact with computer systems, with your computer code, with natural language, which most people were not able to interact with before. So you had these systems where you were having a human person not being able to interact with this code. This code is basically just a tool that defines the instructions that we are giving to that software, right? This is now possible with LLM, that we actually have completely bypassed this, and with natural language, you can reach to your software app, okay? So what is happening here? What do I mean by replacing the software with LLMs? So LLMs, and you've heard this word a lot these days, which is called agents. These agents are, again, as I keep saying, robots, software robots that are able to perform some tasks when we give them. So your simple LLM is just next word predictor. It's able to predict what I want to say, and it's able to reply on those things based on, the instruct training that is done. But it is basically a next word predictor. It's able to transform my thoughts, my language into computer language. Once that is done, how do we actually ask it to do things? It now knows that I wanted to do things. So say I wanted to click a button on my application. How do I ask it to click that button? So I've instructed the LLM that, click on this button. And the LLM has understood it because it's able to understand the language now. What it needs to do is it needs to go back behind your code. Say you're coding in Next.js and you have miles of files. You have a page.tsx onto your application. And what you want is that this LLM is able to directly instruct like you would, like if you were on a page on your software and you're moving your mouse to go towards and clicking that button. You want to exchange that experience into actually having the LLM model do that task for you. So that is what an agent is. It's able to click those buttons. It's able to extract things outside of its domain by understanding the task, and then we define these tasks to them. So what is this called? This is basically called something called function calling. Function calling is giving those robots, the software robots, or your agents, tools, hands, to be able to perform those actions. So it's able to perform, click those buttons. It's able to go outside of your software to order some other software to do something. In our hospital app, it'll be able to, first ask you for your user data, then input that user data directly into the form that usually the hospital would be able to give you. So the form is gone. It'll be able to input your information, whatever you're giving as a diagnosis. So that part of the diagnosis process is gone. It'll be able to let you update those reports on the application itself. So basically all the time you'd spend scanning and explaining what has happened before, that part is gone. And its agent is automatically able to replace all of that part and give that summary or, an earlier prognosis or diagnosis to your doctor, and the doctor then creates their own prognosis based on the help, saving the time, saving the experience, and all you have to do is be there exactly at the time the agent has recommended you to come. So all of that is being replaced there. How does the agent, say, for example, able to manage the traffic around the hospital? By traffic, I mean the number of users or the clients that are coming to the hospital at the same time. So everyone is requested to inform the agent before. The agent is basically, able to maintain a ledger. On that ledger, the agent can clearly go and, change on base of priority that this is one person. This person by my triage application is someone who is in more of an emergency need. It moves that person up and informs the other people that maybe come at 9:15 instead of, say, 9 o'clock, saving your time, saving you the worst of the experience that you get at hospitals, and saving the doctor's time. So that's called a function calling feature. And this becomes even broader when you involve multiple agents. So that's called a multi-agentic system. What a multi-agentic system is, once you're able to give one sort of instructions, one sort of training to one of your robot agents, that, okay, you are a receptionist and you basically go and do this task, take the information and just do this, and then give it to the next agent. So you're basically hiring and training multiple of your staff inside of this application and completely erasing all of the needs that you are limited by your human experience, limited by the physical experience. This is how the future apps will be built. So we built our own library for this. It's called Zeitgeist. We built our own front-end and back-end replica experience where you'd be on a website, and we want that through this library, anyone can install the multi-agentic environment within their website or within their application as is, maintaining it ourselves, and anyone who's willing to help on this experience is welcome to join and contribute as it's an open library. What SideGuest actually involves is that we've created a WebRTC service where you're actually giving a one-on-one experience to the user. Within the WebRTC service, multiple agents are able to join as your voice or video agents. So the agents can actually have a face or just a voice. Once the agents have joined, they're able to actually call the function calling that I described before, and within this function calling, they'll be able to do these tasks that you give them in your app, which is like clicking the buttons or even completely removing the form and just taking the the information as is and directly putting it back to your backend. This is something that will be the future of every application that is built. Something that we wanted to say is something that you need to take inspiration from is a recent video made by YC, Y Combinator, where they say that we're looking for application builders now who not just build co-pilots or assistants of people, but rather a whole company. So say, for example, a law firm. So don't build me a law firm assistant, but build me a law firm where which is completely run by software engineers. So which has multiple agents trained to do the work of a lawyer, and you are then competing with a real law firm and prove to me that you are better than the law firm. And that is what the future of app building and the end-to-end experience that the apps will have within the next 2 or 3 years. Whoever gets on this train as fast as possible will be leading the next $1 million companies.